So this week, this episode, it might feel a little harsh, but it's coming to you with love. Welcome to the Badass Reset Club. I am your host, Heather Yancey. Today, we're talking about discipline, and discipline not just being for those special people with insane motivation, but for the rest of us, for those people who have a hard time staying with something in regards to their health, for people who start and stop and start and stop and wait for that perfect time. They wait for that Monday. They wait for the new month. They wait for the new year. They wait for an accountability partner. They keep waiting. They keep putting things off, and it doesn't ever stick. This, my friends, is for you. So today we're going to break down 6 different ways that we can say, all right, I'm in charge of my discipline. I'm responsible to take my own action. How can I do it? So let's talk about this. We all have that friend, that one friend who can just roll out of bed in the morning and hop into the gym and go crush it and carry on with their day, go to work, take care of their families, keep their houses clean. Like, we know that person. And sometimes we can stop and wonder, like, what do I need to do to be like that person? Well, I'm going to share some things that you can do. Not that we want to try to be like someone else, but if you admire someone's discipline, know that that's what it is. It is discipline. It is work. It is the effort that they've put in over the years. Because I can guarantee that person was not born with like this insane discipline. They didn't just start from that. They had to become that. And so today, let's start off with the first one. Discipline is a skill. It's not a personality trait. So if you've been beating yourself up, I want you to reframe discipline as being something that anybody can learn, that anybody can develop at any age, at any stage of the game. And then I want you to compare it to learning how to drive or learning how to cook or learning a new sport, because nobody was born knowing how to do this. People had to work on it. People had to become that skilled. So I want you to think about different ways in your life, how habits were built gradually, not overnight. Like, what can you think about that you've done that has taken time? If you're a parent, you probably weren't a great parent from the get-go. It took learning over time. You learned from other parents, you learned from your parents, you learned from mentors, you learned from groups, but you learned. Or if you have a really cool skill that you're good at, how did that come into play? Did you start off on day one? I remember when I was figure skating, I fell and fell and fell and fell and broke my tailbone a few times and some other bones. But I learned how to land that axle. I learned how to do those spins. I learned how to do them with just putting in the work to let that skill come. So yeah, it wasn't a personality trait that I could go out there and perform on the ice. It was discipline for developing a skill. Number 2, I want you to start ridiculously small. Like, think about how come go big or go home fails, and it fails over and over again. It's because we can't just from the gates go big. I was just having a conversation with somebody about this, where you can't expect to start something like January 1. Think about that. On January 1, most of us are like, I'm going to work out for 3 hours. I'm going to eat 2 pounds of kale and I'm going to get 10 hours of sleep. Like, that doesn't happen, nor is it realistic. So when we start ridiculously small, we have those tiny habits and those tiny little ways of becoming better. So when you think of tiny habits like doing push-ups or drinking 1 extra glass of water, when you do that, when you get 1 more push-up in, when you get 1 more glass of water in, you are creating momentum. And then that momentum turns into the power of consistency over intensity. So I'm going to say, screw January 1, start it now. You have that power to take something and become consistent with it now in a small way. You can start right now with whatever goal it is that you have on the horizon. Please do not put things off. When we put things off, we absolutely do not follow through, ever. It is the people who are taking action and taking the discipline to start something right this second that will follow through. And I know that can be you. Number 3, we want to design our environment, not your willpower. So when you think about how successful people rely on systems, they don't rely on motivation. When they have something set up for them, they are going to be much more likely to follow through. When you have your dumbbells out and you have your workout clothes ready and you've got your shoes by the door, you're so much better off in that environment than relying on willpower. Because when that alarm goes off, chances are you're going to say, I don't feel like it. But if you have everything lined up for success, that's going to push you into it. So think about simple environmental changes like keeping your shoes by the door. Think about having a bottle ready with maybe some protein powder in it, and you're just going to fill it with water, shake it, and drink it post-workout. Maybe you're going to have a workout already downloaded and ready to go so that all you have to do is show up and follow through. That is going to help you with making sure that you've got good systems in place regardless of how you feel. Because when you don't feel like showing up for yourself to take care of yourself, when you don't feel like eating healthy because you haven't meal prepped, you're not going to do it. Number 4, the power of a minimum viable day. So check this out, you guys. If you think of a minimal viable day, it's just a fun way of saying, hey, we're all going to have crappy days. We're all going to have the like, I don't feel like doing it. So if you have a bare minimum health routine set for those bad days, you're going to have the discipline to follow through. So what that might look like is you've got flexibility built in that's going to prevent like getting rid of, abandoning the habits. You've got something that's going to prevent you from not doing it at all when you don't feel like doing it. So having a bare minimum plan means, all right, on the days that I'm having a rough day, or, you know, I'm having a tough go, like getting the motivation to do anything, then you've got a plan like, okay, then that means it's my bare viable day, my minimum viable day, where I am going to do 10 minutes of walking. I'm going to do 10 squats, 10 push-ups, and I'm good. Because some movement is going to be better than none. And if we think about that, we can bounce back from setbacks without shame. We can come back so much better and stronger because we see that we have that innate feeling to do something rather than nothing. Okay, number 5, progress is not linear. We cannot expect progress to continually shoot up. It doesn't work like that. Nothing in life works like that. No skill that you practice is going to work like that. So we've got to debunk the myth that we can perfect consistency. Consistency means showing up for yourself, doing something to better your health. It does not mean that you do a 60-minute workout 7 days a week or else. It means that you are taking, you know, all of this, all these examples of what you've done for your health and forming habits, and you're also working within real world time. So as things are coming at you, you have meetings on the schedule that you weren't expecting. You have something going on with family that needs your attention. The dog is sick. The weather got terrible. Whatever it is that's going to dampen your progress, you have to expect that that's coming. So we know that perfection isn't there. But one thing we want to think about is, what do we know in the past to be true? What have I done in the past that has been true that can keep me going on that trajectory, to keep me going in that general pattern of upward knowing that I'm going to come up, I'm going to go down, I'm going to come up, I'm going to go down. There's going to be little setbacks. The all or nothing thinking truly sabotages your long-term success in anything that you do. But when it comes to your health, if you say, screw it, I don't have time to work out, I only have 30 minutes, I don't have any more time, that's plenty of time. It's plenty of time to make something happen. If we apply this to your nutrition, because all of this affects your health, all of it is tied in with your fitness and your lifestyle. If we say, I had that extra piece of cake, that extra cookie, I finished off the bag of chips, so screw it, I'm just letting this day go. That's all or nothing thinking. So in that sense, you think, well, how can I make it right with the very next bite? What can I add in now if I've already had a bunch of junk food and I want to write this course? Is there something that I can do now? Can I have an extra glass of water? Can I have a piece of fruit? Can I have a little more protein? What can I do to make it better? So just try not to think that progress is always going to be linear. We are going up and we're going down. Sometimes we're going backwards. But when you work on these little tactics, when you work on your discipline, you're going to fare so much better. Okay, number 6, identify your identity over outcomes. So I want you to think on and focus on becoming that type of person who makes healthy choices. So try saying this to yourself. I don't skip workouts. It's so much more powerful than, I should work out, right? Say something simple to yourself. I am strong because of what I do, instead of, I can't lift any heavier than this. These small daily choices are going to reshape our self-image over time. And so it comes into play with our confidence, and it comes into play with just the way that we perceive ourselves. If you are taking that, identifying your identity over the outcome, it isn't easy, but it's so awesome. And it's something that takes a lot of practice. So in the beginning of this podcast, I let you know I'm going to be a little more harsh. And here it comes. Using these 6 recommended tips, using these 6 practices is going to help you to get more discipline. It's going to help you to reshape and reframe how you look at yourself in regards to your health. And there's a reason for it. I've heard way too many times in the past few weeks alone of people who say, I know, I need to do that. And they don't have any discipline. And it makes me so heartbroken to see someone who is either struggling with their strength, struggling with disease, struggling with pain. It makes me so sad knowing that someone needs to work on their health and they're not. And I know that we know this, and I know that we know we're supposed to do something, but why aren't we? Why do we keep putting it off, waiting to get motivated? It's because we're lacking discipline. So I am imploring you to please put 1, 2, maybe 3, I don't know, get crazy, try all 6, put them into practice and see what changes for you. Because I'm recording this in Q4, we're approaching the holidays, and I know what happens. Being in this industry for 16 years, I know what happens. I know what happens at this time of year, and people let things just go off the rails. They let it go to pot. They're done with it. They'll come back in January. Please, please do not be a January 1st person. You can take action now. And when I say take action, like, what are you talking about, Heather? Take action on what? Your health. And when we're talking about your health, I am specifically thinking of your strength training and your nutrition. It is a non-negotiable. And I know that those of you who are in my inner circles or hear me on a regular basis, you know that this is just the way that I think. If this is new to you, it is non-negotiable to be strength training. I am not talking about cleaning and pressing a barbell over your head, but I am talking about maintaining and building your muscle mass. This is good for our heart health. It's good for osteoporosis. It's good for our bones. And not only is it just good for it, it's necessary. We need to be strength training. So you might be saying, yeah, I'm too busy. I'm too old. I'm too whatever. I don't care anymore. I for years would say, I understand. Yeah, I understand. Well, maybe you'll get to it. And I used to say things like, I hope that you fall in love with weightlifting. I'm done with it. We have to be doing this. This is just, I mean, unacceptable to not be. We have too much information now for how it impacts our health. And so excuses, they're pretty old. They're pretty stale. And excuses don't make you a disciplined person. So how about we set a little pre-resolution together for the remainder of this year until next year? Practice this. I don't make excuses. Let it be a mantra. I don't make excuses. And then maybe you go back to our identity over our outcomes, and you identify with a person who takes action instead of makes excuses. So if you are feeling shame because you know that you should be doing something and you're not, let that go and let's take action. What are you going to do to start being this person who does what they need to do to take care of their bodies? What are we going to do to make things better with our nutrition? What are we going to do to help all aspects of our health, to really focus on gut health and hormone optimization? We're going to sleep, and we're going to work on stress management, and we're going to work on everything that we've been talking about in this podcast. So my goal is to help you look in the mirror and say, I am a disciplined person. I do not make excuses. I take action. And if you need more help on that, book a call. I am doing some complimentary strength assessments. Book a call. Get in there. We'll work together on what you can do to get that going yourself. All right, you guys, I hope you understood that was sent with love, with compassion, and you are the boss of you. So go take action and have a beautiful day.